3, 2, 1.
Xdefiant is an FPS with an identity crisis. This arena shooter pulls characters like a lot of different things as a result. It's fast and twitchy like Call of Duty, but it has class abilities like Overwatch. It's got fast respawns and faster deaths, but objective-based modes that prioritize teamwork over straight kill count. That combination of disparate elements helps Xdefiant play a little differently from most competitive shooters, which can be fun. But it also feels like those parts aren't always working in harmony. Xdefiant is a sort of multiverse of different Ubisoft worlds combined into a single competitive shootout. Several factions based on other Ubisoft games function as your classes, and they're all just distinct and interesting enough without feeling shoehorned together. The Libertad faction from Far Cry 6, for example, is essentially a medic class with powerful healing options, while the Ghost Recon Phantoms are tanks, able to deploy a stationary barrier or pull out a personal riot shield. Their weapons are all pretty standard for military shooters, but they're still satisfying to use, providing a solid, fun gunplay foundation for those abilities to build on. Using the right ability at the right time can change the flow of a fight, but they're not so powerful that they ever override the larger emphasis on shooting. That means knowing how and when to respond to an enemy's abilities is almost as important as your aim, but it's your shooter skills that will always matter most. Each faction also has an Ultra ability that can make a larger impact once charged, but unlike many games' ultimates, there's usually a way for the other team to shut them down if you're not careful. For instance, the Phantom's Ultra is an energy dome that protects anyone within it, but if you're quick, you can get inside and kill the person who activated it, canceling the shield. In that way, Ultras are a good balance of being generally strong without being ridiculous, requiring you to be smart about how and when to use them. While each faction mostly feels pretty distinct, balanced, and fun, some definitely seem to lag behind the others. The biggest offender is DedSec from Watch Dogs. One of their two abilities allows you to hijack the other team's deployables, and I've yet to see a single person use it effectively. There just aren't that many things to steal overall, and every time I tried to sneak up to a shield or a health station to hack it, I was killed by the players who, of course, were currently using that thing. On the flip side, the Echelon faction, which is inspired by the stealthy gameplay of Splinter Cell, can either become nearly invisible or activate a pulse that lets your whole team see nearby enemies through walls. While most of their abilities are a lot more situational or team-oriented, there's no drawback to a legal wall hack. That imbalance at launch weakens the faction system for now. Generally though, the larger issue with abilities is that they don't really fit with Xdefiant's quick approach to gunfights. That Call of Duty mindset of dying fast and respawning right away means shootouts are often over almost as soon as they begin, so a lot of the abilities are just a non-factor. Firing off a heal or launching an explosive is generally time you can't afford, so some abilities in factions simply feel like bad choices when you could use others with much more obvious utility. Ready to go. This is an issue with some weapons as well. The longer I played Xdefiant, the more people started appearing in lobbies wielding sniper rifles, and it quickly became clear why. Sniping very often gets you a one-hit kill, regardless of where the shot hits your target. Comparatively, shotguns have a very short range and slow firing rate, while LMGs seem to be tuned more to destroy enemy devices like shields, rather than damage actual enemies. Assault rifles and some machine guns can be fine, but the speed and power of the sniper rifles quickly made me feel like a chump for opting for any other option. So I guess I'm a sniper now. None of that is a deal breaker though, because Xdefiant doesn't really care if your kill-death ratio is negative, so long as you're helping your team get closer to the match objective. You don't have to be among the fastest guns on the internet to grab a riot shield and focus on pushing a payload from one end of the map to the other, or play support or defense on capture points by helping to keep your other, more lethal teammates alive. All of that is good fun, but it could certainly use a few more imaginative and interesting game modes to prevent us from falling into a routine for a bit longer. Xdefiant only has 5 modes at the moment, all of which are fairly standard fare for this kind of shooter. Those modes all support 6-on-6 unranked play. There will also eventually be a 4-on-4 ranked mode, but it's only available as a preview right now. Zone Control, Domination, and Occupy are all variations on capture point modes, with Occupy taking place on a linear map, while the other two are played on Xdefiant's big, dense arenas. Whether you're capturing one control point that moves around the map, 3 simultaneously, or several in a specific order, these modes all feel similar enough that they can get a bit repetitive. Meanwhile, Hotshot is a version of Call of Duty's Kill Confirmed mode, in which you can only score if you pick up a dropped item after a kill, but there's an added VIP twist. The person with the most items becomes speedier and scores more points for every item they pick up, so you want to protect your own team's hotshot and hunt down opposing ones. As for Escort, it's a straight-up payload mission on a linear map, with no meaningful differences from the mode that's been in Overwatch for years and Team Fortress 2 before that. These options are as amusing as ever, but neither lean into Xdefiant's particular strengths.
The package is moving in the right direction.
The maps themselves, on the other hand, are largely standouts. 10 are arenas and 4 are linear, and they all make for visually interesting and varied spaces. Their open designs encourage fast movement and a minimal amount of camping, and facilitate a lot of different types of engagements with just about every step. That helps to make all the factions and weapons feel viable, at least from a playstyle perspective. Running around with a shotgun is just as fun as hanging back with a sniper rifle, even if actual balance may be a bit off. Except DedSec, they still kinda suck.
3, 2, 1.
Xdefiant is free to play, so naturally there's a store where you can purchase purely cosmetic items, as well as a battle pass you can pay to expand. This is a pretty standard approach, and you really don't need to spend money if you don't want to. If you do, prices are comparable to what you'll see in Fortnite or Call of Duty, with things like character or weapon skins alongside animations that play when you kill an opponent or earn player of the game.
Good win. People will remember that one.
If there's a drawback here, it's that the cosmetics are a little lackluster right now, with many of the skins doing little more than swapping color palettes. There's also a fairly expansive progression system that unlocks weapons, weapon attachments, and various faction characters as you play. Parts for a weapon unlock just by using it, so you can start to kit out your guns to your liking after a few rounds with them. Additional guns and characters require completing challenges by using the weapons you have in specific ways, like earning point-blank SMG kills or notching a certain number of one-shot snipes. The challenges help encourage you to vary your playstyle, and none of them are arduous to unlock. They perfectly balance pushing you to experiment with different loadouts and gear, while quickly rewarding you with new weapons for your trouble. However, the same can't be said of the grind to unlock DedSec. The other 4 factions are available from the start, but DedSec requires earning hundreds of thousands of experience points. For context, each match and challenge only gives you a few thousand. It's a fairly intense grind to do for free, but of course, you can unlock it instantly if you're willing to fork over $10. Given how weak the faction seems to be currently, neither the grind nor the cost seems especially worth it. But this could become a bigger concern if some overpowered faction is released down the line. Xdefiant is a respectable free-to-play shooter, but little really makes it stand out. Its gunplay generally feels great, and even dying doesn't kill the momentum since you're dropped right back into the action. Some of its issues, like weapon balance, are currently distracting, but feel relatively minor since Ubisoft can adjust things over time. Tougher to solve, however, is the clash between its main ideas. Fast time to kill makes a lot of its class abilities feel difficult to make the most of because you're usually dead before you can use them. It's also lacking a defining mode, leaning on samey point capture ideas and tried and true but tired concepts like payload and kill confirmed. But excellent map design keeps them interesting longer than they otherwise would be for now, so hopefully Xdefiant has the time it needs to carve out its own niche. For more shooters, check out our reviews of Gray Zone Warfare or Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. And for everything else, stick with IGN.